Hey guys, welcome to Redneck Off the Range, and this week has been a pretty exciting week for me. Last weekend was Easter weekend, and then I took off the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday just to take a few vacation days, and I decided to take those days and basically go fishing every day. See what I can catch, go to different places, and just see how well I do. So, starting off actually on Saturday before Easter, I went over to my fiance Nikki's house, and they have a little pond over there that's got bluegill, bass, and catfish in it. So I decided to take a few rods over there, and while she was at work on Saturday night, I took some rods down to the pond and I put on some Jello-soaked hot dogs, and I was able to catch 4 little channel cats. They don't have anything super big there, probably just 1.5, maybe 2 pounds at the most. It's probably the biggest catfish that they have there, but I caught 4 channel cats, and then I was just tossing a few lures around, grasshopper lures, jerk baits, and mini crank baits, things like that. And I caught a couple little bluegill and a little bass. So that was kind of a fun night for me, just nice and relaxing, and just catching some fish. Then I didn't do any fishing on Easter, but then on Monday I was originally going to go to this one spot that I had scoped out, but I went there and there was kind of some conflicting signage on whether or not you were allowed to fish there or not. So I ended up just not fishing there, just to be safe. And I went back to this lake where I caught all those yellow bullheads. And there's actually 2 lakes. There's a big lake on one side, and then there's a little bitty lake right next to it, probably like, I don't know, 10 to 20 acres, something like that. Not huge, but not small either. Not really a pond, I would consider. So anyway, I just kind of fished in both of those lakes using different baits and stuff. And I caught 4 little bluegill, 2 bullheads, which both bullheads swallowed the hook, and I know for sure one of them didn't make it because he floated back up to the surface, and the other one I'm 99% sure he didn't make it either, so that's kind of unfortunate. And then I also caught 1 little black crappie, so 7 fish. So 7 fish on Saturday, 7 fish on Monday. Still no new species yet. And I took 2 of those bluegill and I cut them up to use them for bait, and I threw the other 2 back. So that was Monday. On Tuesday, I went out to this RV park that has this really big lake, and then it's also right on a creek. So I went there, paid the $2 fee to go fishing for the day, and tried the creek, didn't get anything there. Tried the lake, didn't get anything there. But in between the lake and the creek, there are a few low-lying areas that are full of water that kind of make these long, skinny ponds, I guess you would say. And I was walking past one of them and saw some little splashes, and so I went down there to see what I could catch, expecting to catch some bluegill or green sunfish or something, because whatever's in these ponds is just going to be overflow from when the lake floods or when the creek or both flood. So just kind of expecting, some little fish. Didn't end up catching any sunfish at all. I saw quite a few splashes that I'm assuming were shad or shiners, something that you're not really going to be able to hook. But I was able to catch 5 bullheads, and these were black bullheads. Now, black bullheads look a lot like yellow bullheads depending on their color. The best way I found that you can tell between a yellow bullhead and a black bullhead is the color of the chin barbels or whiskers. So a yellow bullhead has white, and a black bullhead has like dark brown or black or dark gray colored chin whiskers. So these were all black bullheads, and some of them were a darker color, so you could obviously tell, but some of them were also a little more yellow. And I didn't get a picture of one of them. I kind of forgot because, I took a while to get the hook out, and I just kind of threw them back and didn't even think about it. So anyway, that was a new species. So that makes species number 5 for the year. and that completes my minimum goal for catching 5 new species of fish throughout 2023. So I've caught a rainbow trout, a white crappie, yellow bullhead, black bullhead, and a common carp. So that's 5 new species of fish. Wednesday, which was yesterday, I went out to, well, the plan was to go out to this local lake and try some flathead and blue catfish fishing because this particular lake is stocked with both flatheads and blues. But I couldn't get any goldfish to use as bait or shiners because the bait shop that was there, they didn't have any in stock. Now, you're probably wondering, why don't you use bluegill or green sunfish or bullheads, just catch some bait and use that. Well, you can't really do that there. It's actually not allowed, which is kind of stupid because you can keep any of those fish at any different size for whatever reason. You just can't turn around and use them for bait. I don't understand that, but the rules are the rules, and so I was going to get some goldfish, which that's kind of a sore subject with a lot of people. Because they're technically an invasive species, and yeah, I get it, but at this point I'm just following the rules. But they didn't have any golden shiners either to use. So that plan kind of got nixed, and I just kind of went and threw out some hot dogs and tried some chicken livers, whatever would stay on the hook, and didn't catch any catfish, which was very disappointing. I did, at the first lake that I stopped at, I did catch 2 little white crappie, little tiny guys, but that's really it, and it was kind of disappointing because, everywhere I go, like the people to the left of me or to the right of me, they're like, catching 20 crappie and even some bluegill, and I'm sitting here, trying all different baits and jigs and lures, and, I'm catching 2. So that was a little disappointing. I decided to move lakes to a smaller lake that I knew had a bunch of small, like 1 pound to 2 pound channel catfish, and they also supposedly have hybrid bass, and I know they have white crappie, and decided to go there to see if I could catch anything. And I started off, first fish I caught out of there was a really nice white crappie, about the same size as the first one I caught out of there earlier in the year. Then on my catfish rod, which I had a night crawler on there, I got a bite, and I wasn't really sure if I got a bite, so I reeled it in, and lo and behold, I caught a small rainbow trout that, of course, swallowed a hook, and it's not even that it just swallowed a hook, it was a little 2-aught circle hook, and it's a little hard to get a 2-aught circle hook out of a small rainbow trout's mouth, so that fish didn't make it. In fact, by the time he swallowed the hook, he was pretty much a goner, because trout are kind of a fragile species, and it was like 80 degrees, and they're a cold water species, and so he didn't make it. So I threw him back, and he floated back to the surface right away. Then after that, I caught a tiny green sunfish on a crappie jig, so that was kind of cool. I've caught green sunfish before, but I don't know, green sunfish are like one of my favorite species of sunfish. I just think they look so cool. And they can be like so tiny with those big mouths, almost like a bass mouth, but on this little tiny sunfish. It just kind of looks cool. I like them. So that was kind of fun. I threw him back, and then the wind started to pick up, and I wasn't really getting any bites, and I kept tossing around different lures, and on a tiny grasshopper lure, which is about this big, I caught a golden shiner, and I'm really not sure how I did that. Because the mouth on this thing was so small, and the hook did go through the mouth. It's not like I snagged it in the back or the side or whatever. It actually went for the bait, but only one of the hooks on one of the little treble hooks was able to get into the fish's mouth. So that technically is also a new species for me. I've never caught one of those before. I've only stocked them in the lake, and so that's new species number 6 for me, which is totally not a species that I really thought I would catch. At least, definitely not one that was that small. They do get, like 10 inches or so. So, they're definitely, they can definitely grow to be a catchable size, but this one was like 3 inches. So, definitely not something I was expecting to catch. But anyway, after that, I decided to give up. The wind was picking up, blowing my hat off my head and everything. So overall, didn't really catch anything too sizable. I mean, I caught a decent sized white crappie, and then of course I caught those 4 catfish at Nikki's house. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was at the RV park where I was fishing in the little skinny pond between the lake and the creek. I actually did get a few good bites there, and in fact, on a red worm, I was using a red worm on a hook and a bobber. I actually hooked into a pretty good fish, and I started reeling it in, and I just got to see the outline of the fish, and it looked like a pretty decent sized channel cat. Not a huge channel cat, but maybe 3-4 pounds, bigger than the ones I was catching at Nikki's pond. About the size of the ones that we used to have at the farm before they all died. But it got off, so I wasn't able to land him. And then I got 2 more decent sized bites on, I think, a grasshopper lure, but again, wasn't able to land it. And, I did see several big splashes there, quite a few little splashes. So I know there's lots of little tiny, like, shad and shiners. I know there's minnows because I could see them swimming around, and I know there's bullheads because I caught them. But, there's probably some sunfish in there, bluegill. But I do think there are some pretty big fish in there, probably catfish, or maybe even some bass, or even other fish that came from the creek. So I don't know. I do plan on going back there and just seeing what I can catch. I wasn't really expecting to catch a whole lot out of there, but when I got those few decent bites, now I definitely know that I can go back and hopefully catch some monsters out of there. So we'll just have to see. So anyway, my minimum goal has been completed, and I've started the journey to doubling that goal. If that's possible by the end of the year, we'll see. I do plan on doing quite a bit more fishing, so it's definitely possible. I did set myself one more goal for the year, and that was to catch either a flathead catfish or a blue catfish. Like I said, there's that lake that I was at where they do stock both of them. And then, of course, there's several rivers and creeks around here where you can catch both or one or the other. And so my plan is to just fish all these different areas throughout the year, see what I can catch, and hopefully I can catch at least one or the other or both. And that would be awesome. So that is my new goal for the year, on top of the goal of just to catch as many species as I can, whether I'm able to get, just one more species throughout the year, or if I can double it, get 10 or get more. That would be awesome. We'll just have to see where the year takes me. So anyway, this video is getting a little bit long, so subscribe to my channel, and until next time, be safe.